Well, hello, school counselors and school counselors to be. Thank you guys so much for coming to my channel, The Inspiring School Counselor. And today, you guys, we're going to be getting into what to do the first 30 days as a school counselor. Y'all, I am so excited to get into this subject because maybe you're sitting up there thinking like, look, I don't know, school's about to start. I don't know what to do. Well, hopefully with me doing this video, I'm able to help you guys and guide you through that process. I have to give a special thanks to one of my viewers out there because she's the one that reached out to me asking me this question. And as you guys know, what better way for me to address it than to do it in a video? Because maybe you are wondering the same exact thing. So I'm excited to really get into this. I just remember when it was my first, day going in as a school counselor. I actually graduated back in December of 2019. And let me tell y'all, when I started January 2020, y'all, I was just like going with the flow. I was just winging it, and then lo and behold, did y'all just hear I said January 2020? That was like the start of the pandemic, right? And so school ended up closing March of 2020. And y'all, nobody wasn't prepared. Graduate school didn't prepare me for that. They didn't teach me how to be a virtual school counselor or the things I need to do. So luckily, I was able to make it through. I want you guys to know what you should do your first 30 days as a school counselor. So that's why we're getting into this. So let's not prolong the time. If you have not subscribed, make sure you subscribe and make sure you hit the notification bell so that you can be notified every time I upload a video. All right, y'all, let's get into it. Let's see if I can do this. All right, so there's a couple things I want you guys to keep in mind. And the first thing is that this is a general list, okay, that I'm getting ready to share with you guys. So you can apply this no matter what school level that you are in, okay? But at the same time, even though this is a general list, I still want you guys to keep in mind that every school site and every school level is different, okay? And so the things that I would do, I'm an elementary school counselor. I just work in the primary setting, but I might do things very much different, and I will do things very much different than a middle school and a high school counselor. So for an example, my first 30 days is going to really be me sending out those needs assessments. They're going to be me touching bases with kids, doing my lessons and stuff like that. But however, if you are a high school counselor, you're not going to be doing that. You're going to be morely focused on scheduling and getting everything together like that. And so with that being said, as you go through this process, just keep that in mind. And also, this order that I have it in, you don't have to stick to this order specifically. You just do it to whichever one best fits for you in your situation. So let's go ahead and get into it. I'm actually going to bring my little bubble down, and I'm actually going to go ahead and make my bubble smaller. But the first thing that I have written down that you should make sure that you do, especially for you new school counselors out here, is that you want to talk with your principal. Now, if you are not a new school counselor and you've already been at the school, you're just returning back, then you might not even have to discuss with your principal or talk with them, especially if you're not, especially if you have other school counselors with you that you are collaborating with. So like in a high school setting, you're probably going to have about 3 or 4 or more school counselors that you will be collaborating with, and you don't necessarily have to go to your principal. However, whichever situation that you're in, you want to talk to somebody, okay? You want to talk to your administrator if you can, all right? And the things that you're going to be discussing is like your school counselor role, all right? You're going to be getting into your school counselor duties, non-school counseling tasks that you might have to do, fair share responsibilities. These are very important for you to discuss. Now, I know that you might touch on this during your interview process for all of you new school counselors out there that is watching this, but there's nothing like when you actually, you are the school counselor and you're actually able to have that formal conversation where you can really dive into the details of each of those things, okay? So definitely you're going to want to talk about that. Then you're going to get into like your school counselor schedule. What does that look like for you? This is going to be very much important, you guys, because with your school counselor schedule, you're going to know how to maneuver different things in your day, okay? If you are one that teach lessons, you're going to know where you should maneuver that in your day so that you can deliver those lessons, all right? So this is going to be very important for you to discuss. Also, you might want to discuss events and activities that you need to make sure that you do and implement for the school year. There might be some things that's already set, and so you want to make sure that you are aware of when those things is set. So some of the events might be in the fall, some events might be in the spring, and so you want to make sure that you have that in your mind and you know what to prepare for. So I know, like for me, when it comes down to events, activities, there's things that I do in the fall that I don't do in the spring and vice versa. And so I have to make sure that I know exactly when that is set, okay? And then there's other things that I might want to implement. There's events that I might want to include. And so by me, talking with the principal, I'm able to also introduce those new events and activities that I want to do as well. You could talk about your mission and vision, okay? And not just really your mission and vision, but also the principal's. What is the mission and vision for the whole school, and how can your school counseling program support that mission and vision? And you'll also be going into things like goals to focus on for this year, all right? Maybe there are some goals that you're focusing on from the prior year that your principal wants you to focus on that you're still trying to get up and running for this year. I know when I had the conversation with my principal, one of the goals two of the goals that we were really wanting to make sure that we come up in, which was behavior and attendance. This is very much important. And that's why I'm glad that we were able to get those goals, because then I was able to think, okay, what is something that I can implement? And that is when I implemented the rewards card, and I was able to make like school money and to give out to the teachers and the faculty and staff and all those different individuals to give to the students so that they can buy from the rewards card. And that gave them motivation and an incentive, something to look forward to if they do the right thing and if they come to school and if they have the right behavior. So those are things that you're going to want to discuss. But one thing that I want to make sure I highlight is that the list can go on, okay? So it's not limited to these different type of things, okay? So the list can definitely go on. The next thing that I want you guys to keep in mind and making sure that you do, number 2, which is create Meet the Counselor materials. You are the new school counselor. This is important for you to create these materials. And even if you're not the new school counselor, you still need to make sure you have materials to pass out, because there are some new students that might be coming to the school. Maybe some students forgot that you were their school counselor. And so you want to create these things. And maybe you can use things that you have used in years past so that you don't have to create them. But you want to be able to have these ready to go. So like newsletters, brochures, you can put together a presentation that you can give. And even like if you have like a faculty meeting and you have, a lot more new teachers, you can, make sure that you present that at the faculty meeting. You can also put together a video. And you're probably wondering, well, where in the world do I get the word out for these things, okay? You get the word out by making sure that you are, highlighting this during the back to school bash, okay? That's important. Maybe your school is doing a back to school bash and maybe they assigned you to pass out snow cones or something like that. Well, you need to let them know that, look, no, I can't do that right now because I'm going to set up my own area that teachers and parents and students, and not really the teachers, but parents and students in the community can come to my station and they can get these newsletters and brochures that I'm passing out, okay? So you definitely want to make sure that you utilize this back to school bash. Now, let's say if your school is not doing a back to school bash, then you put one on if you can. You can actually put one on. You can get others involved that can help you put one together so that you can not only highlight the school, but also highlight you as well. Another thing that you can do is you can post it on social media. So if your school has a Facebook, or maybe they're using Class Dojo, or maybe your school even has a website, then you want to make sure that you put these things out on that. You can put the video on social media, the newsletters or brochures, whatever it is, you can utilize social media for that. All right. And a lot of the students, they are all about social media anyway. And so that's going to be even the more convenient, because when you start getting into like handing out, they could get lost and stuff like that. However, you can still utilize passing out like handout material for them. So passing out your newsletters, your brochures, so that they can at least have a physical copy as well. And they can even take home to give to their parents. So that is how you can get the word out. And it's very important for the everyone to know who you are and knowing that they can come to you. Now, if you are at a school that you're not the only school counselor and maybe you are with other school counselors, you guys can talk about a way that you guys can do this to get the word out about who you guys are. The third thing that I have written down here is you want to send out a needs assessment. A needs assessment is beneficial no matter what school level that you're in. Why? Because it helps you collect data for you to create your classroom lessons or put together your classroom lessons, because you probably don't want to create it off the top of your head. You could put together your small groups that way. And you can also put together your individual counseling sessions so you're able to know exactly who you need to get involved or who you need to talk to, okay? So this is very much important for you to do. Now, I know that, for instance, if you're in a high school setting, you might not be doing classroom lessons, okay? That is okay, but you can still utilize the needs assessment to put together your small groups. Maybe you want to do that, or maybe you want to do your individual counseling sessions. Now, keep in mind, I know in a high school setting, it's busy, and you guys might not even have time for that, because I even remember doing my internship that the school counselor that I was working with in a high school setting, she didn't have time for any of those things, okay? So, but if you do and you can implement that, then definitely you want to utilize this needs assessment. Now, you're probably wondering too, well, who and when do I send out this needs assessment? Who are the people you can send it out to? Teachers, students, and parents, okay? And when can you send this out to? I normally send it out the first week of school, and then I give them about 2 weeks to turn it in. And then during that time of the 2 weeks, I always make sure that I remind them, hey, make sure you get this done. Make sure you fill this out because you only have this amount of days left, okay? So I continually to make sure that I remind them. And you also want to make sure that you get the word out about this needs assessment. So utilize social media, utilize the back to school bash that you might be putting together or that might be coming up. You can also put this in your newsletters and brochures so that you can highlight that so that they know to look out for that. Another thing that I do want to highlight is that you can actually look at the needs assessments done from the previous year, because maybe you don't have any time to send out a needs assessment. Maybe you want to look back the last year's needs assessment that was done. You can still utilize that and create lessons in small groups and individual counseling sessions for that. So just have that in mind. So you're probably wondering, as far as sending out a needs assessment, how do I send one out? Okay, I utilize Google Forms. It's a free platform that you can create your needs assessment, and it's a great way for you to collect data in a stress-free, easy way. Because as you send this out, which is going to be a link that you'll send out to the teachers, the students, and even the parents, and as they fill it out, at the end of the 2 weeks or however long that you're giving them, there's actually a button that you can click on where it will take all of those responses and it will give you just an organized way so that you can collect all this data. I absolutely love it, you guys, and I highly recommend for you guys to use Google Forms. And actually, I have a video that is dedicated to that, how to create one. It is very easy, very, very easy. And so you guys can go and watch that video. I will put that down in the description below so that you guys can click on that. So the fourth thing that I have for you guys is that you want to put together your referral process. And you're probably wondering, well, what in the world is a referral process? That is just a way that, individuals can reach out to you in regarding to, students that need to be seen. And so it's just a really, straightforward, easy way for them to get in contact with you. And so one of the first things that I have down right here is a mailbox. Now you can utilize like the mailbox that they might have in the front office for you, or even if you have a school counselor office, they can easily just drop that off to you that way. But that is something that you can use. But let me tell you guys, for my students in specific, now the mailbox will be a good way for like the teachers, okay? Or even utilizing your email for the teachers so that they can reach out to you that way. But I use this blue box right here. And I actually have this blue box in the cafeteria because it's a central location that all the students go to. And then they can easily write down what it is that they want to see me about, and they will put it in that box, and then I will check it ever so often so that I can make sure that I see those students, okay? But I always make sure that I stress to the students that you don't want to put anything that is like an emergency thing. So like if you're getting abused physically or sexually, or you know somebody else that's getting hurt or something like that, you do not want to put it in this blue box. You want to make sure that you tell your teacher that you need to talk to me as soon as possible so that I can be able to address it immediately. So I make sure that I have that conversation with them. But you can utilize also like Google Forms, so that you can post that link on any of your social media sites for the school. You can utilize passes, so you can give passes to the teachers to give to students if it is that they say that they need to talk to you, so they can give that pass to the student and then they can come down where you are. You can also utilize referral form handouts. Those are just, handouts that you have that have like that the student can put their name, the teacher, and the reason why they want to see you, and they can give that to the teacher, or they can drop it off to your mailbox, or they can even put it in something like this. However, I use it for the teachers to give to me whenever they have a reason why they want me to see a student, and it did not work at all, but maybe it will work for you. So that's just something that you can keep in mind. And once again, you're probably wondering, how do I get the word out about my referral process? Utilize Back to School Badge. Utilize social media. You can utilize your handout material. Okay, you can even put in like your brochures and your newsletters, your referral process and how they can get in contact with you. Also, I actually created lessons talking about it, and I talked about it this blue box. So I would create lessons and let them know reasons why you would use this blue box, and the importance of you utilizing this blue box. But I also highlighted the reasons why you would not utilize this blue box, and that's if it's an emergency. So definitely you can create lessons and you can talk to your students about it as well. So the fifth thing that we're getting into is classroom lessons. And I know a lot of you guys that are like maybe in the high school setting, or maybe even in the middle school setting, you don't really teach classroom lessons. But that is okay. You might want to start doing something like that. Maybe you have room in your schedule this year to do that. But however, you can use your needs assessments because that will help drive the type of lessons that you should do. All right. You guys can come up with lessons off the top of your head and try to create lessons that way or plan lessons that way. But you guys, it's nothing like when you can send out a needs assessment and you're actually able to get that feedback from the students, from the teachers, and from the parents, so that you can plan your lessons that way, because then you're able to address the actual needs and what the students really want, okay? And so that's very important. Now, the only reason why you would not go by your needs assessment, and that is unless you have a certain curriculum that your school and your school district wants you to teach, okay? And sometimes that is the case. You are not able to plan lessons how you want because your school district already has a curriculum that they want you to use. Now, you'll be able to find this out through you having that principal and counselor, meeting, that conversation. And even if you don't have that principal and counselor conversation, you can always call around to other school counselors, or if you're at a school that is multiple school counselors there, then you can always collaborate with them and see how you guys want to approach that. Now, another thing that you can use your needs assessments for, even if you're not doing classroom lessons, is for your small group lessons, okay? So it's still important for you to still make sure you send out that needs assessment. Continuing talking about classroom lessons and small group lessons, you're probably wondering, well, how do you get these things? You can utilize Teachers Pay Teachers. They have free things that you can download from there, as well as things that you can purchase that you can download from there. You can also just Google search it and some free school counseling lessons, and you can even be even more specific and highlight a subject. And y'all, please forgive me. I just noticed that these two words are supposed to be separated, but y'all know how it is when you're trying to put these things together. But yeah, so you can definitely utilize Google. You can utilize Canva for some free SEL lessons. You can buy books that already have like lessons put together in there, and you can use that. And you can also create lessons on your own. First of all, my hats go out to all of those school counselors that have the time and you can create lessons on your own. However, I have not got to that point completely. I have created lessons on my own before, but y'all, majority of my lessons is on Teachers Pay Teachers that I got from there or Google. I just Googled some and I was able to download some. But also you can utilize this opportunity to map out your lessons so that you know when you will deliver them, okay? So definitely you want to utilize this opportunity. Now, some of you guys might be saying, look, I don't have 30, days to, try to get these lessons together. I have to teach lessons as soon as school starts. You guys, that is okay because that's actually happened with me. As soon as school started, I had to be ready, which was in January 2020. I had to be ready to deliver lessons. Now, thankfully for me, I was able to use my 2 weeks of winter break to get all those lessons together. But once again, you guys, you don't have to fret. You can always use Teachers Pay Teachers and Google free lesson plans. Or if your school district already uses a curriculum, you can use that as well. Now, I do want to let you guys know, I do have a playlist that is dedicated to lesson plans and how to get that all together. I will also put that down in the description below for you guys to click on after this video. All right, so number 6, we're talking about scheduling your meetings, okay? So now I'm pretty sure that you could probably think of more meetings that you could be scheduling during this time, but the 2 that really stick out to me definitely is the 504 meetings, especially if you are the 504 coordinator, because every year you're going to have to make sure you have your annual meetings, and we'll get more into that. But the second thing is your parent meetings, okay? And you're probably wondering, well, why would I want to schedule a parent meeting? Let's say that you were at this school before, so you were working with students last year, and there were some students that had some behavior issues and some, different things that, had arose last year. You might want to touch bases with those parents this year. So you might want to schedule your meetings and talk to them about, okay, how it is that you guys want to attack this year coming up. All right. Now, going back to 504 meetings, you definitely want to have this. And the reason why is because, for one, you want to go over last year's accommodations. Okay. This is very much important because you want to see what was put into place last year. And then you want to look at this year. Are you going to still be using those same accommodations, or do you need to modify those accommodations, or do you need to get rid of some of those accommodations? Okay, so this is important as well. And also, you're going to give opportunity for their new teacher to know that this student has a 504, and so there's things that you're going to have to follow. So this is important. And also, you're able to have more of a formal meeting with the parents and the new teachers for them to discuss that student. So this is very much important. And then at this time, you can decide whether this student still needs a 504. I have had it where I had to actually terminate a 504 because the student didn't need it no more because they were getting special ed services, okay? And then you might have where parents just might want to terminate a 504 because they don't feel like their child needs a 504. So having your 504 meetings is going to be important. Now, if you're a school counselor that don't have to do this, don't have to worry about this, then you don't have to worry about any of these things, okay? The 7th thing that I have written down here is organize, y'all. And I'm going to go ahead and say organize and decorate, because you might want to use this first 30 days to start decorating or finish up decorating as well. Sorry, y'all, that was my phone. So I have a list of things that you might have in mind that you want to organize and decorate. However, pay attention to this right here. The list can go on, y'all, so it's not limited to what is on this list. But the first thing I have written down here is you can create a counselor binder. And I'm actually going to dedicate a video that's going to talk more about that, you guys. But definitely you can create a counselor binder. You can actually utilize this time to put together your child abuse forms, your suicide protocol forms, and your bully harassment protocol forms. This is very much important because you guys never know. The first day, you might just have to fill out a child abuse forms, and you don't want to be scrambling around trying to find it. You want it to already be in place and where it needs to be. So utilize that time to put those together. Also, you can put together your 504 forms and getting your folders all together. You can put together your lessons, and also you can utilize this time to make copies of those lessons so that you don't have to be trying to do it last minute. You can also decorate and organize your office or your classroom. You can organize your books and games. You can organize and decorate your rewards card. You can declutter, so you can get rid of a lot of things that you don't really need anymore. And once again, like I said before, the list can go on. You guys see in this corner is actually a playlist that I put together. Just everything organizing. So I'll put that down in the description below. You guys can see how I organize my room and the things that I had to do. And so definitely you want to go and watch that. Now we're getting into the 8th thing, which is you want to utilize this time to list and plan your school-wide activities, okay? This is important, you guys. You want to list all the activities that you are wanting to do for this school year, and that's already pretty much on your schedule to do, okay? So that you can, have that layout and know, okay, what is it that I need to do for the fall semester, and then what is it that I need to do for the spring semester? And then also you might want to use this time too to plan, because you might not have anything to really do in August because it's more focused on getting the students, just used to being in school again. But maybe you have to plan for September. Maybe there's an event. So you have to utilize the first 30 days of August to plan for the event in September, okay? And so that's why I have that down. But definitely you want to make sure that you have an idea. And I do have 2 videos that are dedicated to that as well that I'll put down in the description below, which is 9 event ideas that you can plan for your students, and also 7 steps to keep in mind when planning events at your school, okay? So I'll put that down in the description below. But one thing that you want to make sure that you do is reach out for help, especially if you are the only school counselor at your school. If you have to form a committee to help with the events and activities that you're trying to do, then please reach out, because you can try to do it by yourself, but it can be a headache, it can be stressful, and so you want to make your job as stress-free as you can, and so please make sure you reach out for help with that. Now we're getting into our 9th thing, which is establish how you will track your use of time. You guys, this is very much important. Why? Just pay attention to this right down here below, because you're able to show how you're impacting the students and how you spend your time. This is important because you might have teachers or whoever might come. How are you spending your time? How is your school counseling program, impacting the students, impacting the school as a whole? And you want to show them, okay? You want to be able to show them. And so you might want to utilize things like a planner, Excel spreadsheet, Outlook calendar. The list can go on of the different things that you can utilize to help track your time. But I do have a video that is also dedicated to that you are definitely going to want to go and watch. I'll put that down in the description below so that you can click on that after this video. And what I also love that in this video, I began to show you guys the Excel spreadsheet that I use that pretty much take all the information that I put in it and it forms a graph, okay? And I love it because it makes it so much easier for my principal to be able to look at, or teachers to look at as well. And so you definitely want to go and watch that video so that you can get that. It actually graphs your direct services, your indirect services, the time that you're putting forth in your non-school counseling tasks, your fair share responsibilities. So I'm telling you guys, you will fall in love with this. I also use this to post each month. I actually post my school counselor month overview, and so that gives a list of everything that I taught for that month. It also gives a list of the counseling tools that I use, the amount of individual counseling sessions I had, the amount of 504s I had, the amount of professional growth that I done that month. And so I also like to post that on my school's social media sites as well. And so I get more into that in this video that I have right here. So like I said, you guys want to definitely go and watch that. And we have our last thing right here, you guys, which is the 10th thing. Keep in mind, you guys, a lot of these things will roll over into the next month, and just be okay with that, okay? And don't get used to a set schedule. I can't stress this enough, especially for you new school counselors, because us school counselors that has been in it, we know. I mean, you can have a set schedule. It looks good and pretty and beautiful on paper, but y'all, that goes out the window because anything can happen, anything can take place. And so you're no longer going by that schedule. So Don't forget to give yourself grace. You need to make sure you do that, especially it being your first year. Make sure that you do that. And also you want to make sure that you communicate with your principal and or other school counselors. This is important. Two, if you don't communicate with your principal, they're not going to know the stress that you're under. They're not going to know the time that you really need to allocate towards the different things that you're trying to do. So they're going to think everything is fine. But when you communicate with your principal and you're letting them know, then they know, okay, look, I'm going to have to maneuver your schedule. I'm going to have to get some of those non-school counseling tasks off your plate so that you can dedicate it towards the students and the things that you're trying to do. So it's very much important for you to have that conversation. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I thank you guys so much for your time. I'm so excited to be able to get this out to you guys. And if you guys have any questions that you have for me, please make sure that you email me at theinspiringschoolcounselor@gmail.com. And you can also put it down in the comments below. Thank you guys so much for your time. If you have not subscribed, make sure you subscribe. And make sure you hit the notification bell so that you can be notified every time I upload a video. I'll see you guys next time. Bye.